2010, I was working at City Walk, and I was working at the fossil store at the time. And, and then I remember I saw a big line, and I'm like, oh, people for like auditioning for Horror Nights? I'm like, I don't know. And then like I see the sign, and it's a sign for auditions, and it had Stitches the Clown. And I'm like, whoa, that character looks awesome. Like this punk, like this rocker clown with a leather jacket, and he kind of had like dreads and like really cool. Like, I'm like, dude, this looks awesome. I'm like, you know what? And then I saw another guy with dreads. I'm like, dude, if that guy's gonna audition, I'm gonna go audition, and that was like, and like I remember that was what made me do it. Literally seeing the Stitches art made me like, yo, this guy looks awesome, dude. I want to go like and do it. And I auditioned. And I got picked, but I didn't do Stitches. Like I was Terror Tram, but I was like, oh man, I'm not a clown. But I looked at my thing. I'm like, but I got a chainsaw. I'm like, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
probably the height.
Yeah, huh? I think it was definitely the height for sure. Like the height. I had a key factor. And I may have like fibbed and said, yeah, I've worked with a chainsaw before, like doing yard work. I'm like, no, I didn't. but I watched a lot of YouTube videos, so.
What was your, because everyone has their own technique. What was your audition? What'd you present for them? Was it still back then? Was it still a group audition and a solo?
Yeah. Still group, still solo, like Scare the Chair. And try to go like Wolfman, but like getting a little bit more and more intense and everything like that. And it's so funny too, because I'm looking back at like, cause I also got, this is way later. I got, say it with me. I got Walking Dead. And like, it's so funny too, because I look back at the, like, there's a viral video. It's like of the video of like the audition of like the group thing, and people are just going ham, and it's just like you look at that video, I'm like, oh God, thank God I wasn't in that. But like it's like too, because like when I remember audition for the Walking Dead attraction, I'm like, like people are going ham because like they want to be seen, and I'm like, well, it's not about going ham, like, because like if you're a zombie, they don't do that. So when I was auditioned for a zombie, I just really concentrated on my movement and like how I would walk and, maybe a certain burst of energy and then go. But if you look at that video, everyone's like, they look so bad. And like it became a meme for a while. And I'm like, yeah, because like it's like sometimes in the auditions, I just kind of remember like, I'm not going to go too crazy because, because I did see some of the other ones. I'm like, damn, some people are going a little too nuts. And I'm like, I just want to concentrate like on my movement, on like some characters, like some good energy. And, because like, yeah, I just see people going a little way too much. And especially if it's a zombie, they're not going to like, yeah. But like people want to like show off like, look at me. So yeah. I'm just like, I'm going to let more of my movements and character do this thing.
So you got the part, you're in Terror Tram, you get that chainsaw in your hand.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like that first night out there being able to scare people? It was
so cool. Like everybody loves it because it's like Christmas, it's like you get it and you're like, oh my God, and it's like it's so cool because like you get it, you're like, I just want to like start it, but like like at the time it was this guy, he was the captain, and he was always very like, nobody touches it until we like starts it until we say so, and the whole time you're just like, it's so cool because it's such like a fun tool, man, and it's neat. And so like the whole time you're there, just like I can't wait, like and and then you're like, when you get it, like, well, I hope I could start it, like, because I don't want to be the guy that's like, for like 10 minutes, and someone else like, all right, little boy, I'll start it for you. So yeah, but yeah.
So performing, going out there your first night.
Yeah.
What did you remember about enjoying about it, and maybe the different scare techniques you tried?
Yeah, no, I remember. Like my first year, like I didn't know anybody, like, and I go in there, everyone's like camp, returning, like, hi, hugging and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't really know anybody, but oh man, I should have worn my Thriller jacket, because that was the jacket I used to wear and made friends with. I had a Michael Jackson Thriller jacket, which I should have totally wore. My girlfriend, she bought me another one because that one was just too old and got, but that's the one I wore all the time. And people were like, hey, red jacket guy, Thriller jacket guy. But I just remember like at the beginning, like I really didn't know anybody, and everybody, and also for the thing about me, I'm like, like so many people wanted to be next to the captain and wanted to like be like the captain and like kiss up and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I just want to do my thing, like everybody was trying to do like, really, I don't know, like I just wanted to do my thing. So I had a great spot. I was on the Terror Tram, and I was like by the entrance of the Bates Motel, and I had like freedom, and everybody was kind of being watched, and I had all this freedom to do all this kind of stuff. Like I could jump on this platform, I could come through this fence, and I think it was just like, I still remember like my first night, and like I think it was like employee preview, and I'm just like, oh man, like seeing the first tram, and I'm like, oh my God, my heart was beating, and I'm like, oh, here we go, and seeing the first people and lighting it up and getting that, and it was like, yeah, it was absolutely, like everyone will say like, oh man, it was adrenaline rush for sure. So it was so wild. Like I'm like, man, I'm on this side of the thing now, because I used to go to Knott's all the time.
What do you think separates a good scare actor from one that's maybe not the best?
Maybe not the best. Yeah, I would say it's like, especially like for me, like I would say a lot of times people just think it's the scare, like especially if it's in the streets, right? A lot of people on the streets, will run up and do the scare and then just, like walk back or something like that. And I think with it is a scare actor, like especially on the streets, you have to be on all the time. So not just scare and that's it. Like you have to have a character too. Cause like I've seen some parks where they have like, some monsters and like, some sliders, they'll slide and then they just, walk back and just like look for the next victim. And I'm like, you got to have like character the whole entire time. So you scare and then you walk back and then, you're walking back as a character. You're kind of you're not really scared. Okay. I've seen it a bunch and I'm like, and I've seen it a lot too. Like kind of like, I remember I went to Orlando and I'm like, I'm not trying to be like, I'm the, the diva, the best, like scare actor, but like now that I've done it so long, I kind of look at other places and stuff like that. So, and there was this another guy, forgetting his name, Brandon. He was a little bit older than us, but that dude was insane because he was never out of character. He was a clown, and the whole time he walked, all the time. So I'm like, and then it made me like, man, I realized I go to other places and they're barely, in character because like it's a small thing, but if someone's kind of looking and they see you really in character, like even if you're not scaring, that's like, oh, that's cool. But if I'm like, just scared somebody and I'm just gonna like walk back to like a place to like hide, then it kind of takes away. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, some people who just go for the scare and that's it.
Yeah. I love that. No,
Yeah.
I agree too, because I've been to many places
Yeah.
where they'll kind of pop out at you,
Yeah.
or maybe they'll just put their prop in front of you. They'll
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
and they keep walking. I'm
Yeah,
like,
keep
bro,
walking. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
What do you think scaring for so many years? By the way, it was
Yeah.
10 years?
10 years.
10 years, scaring for 10 years. Through those 10 years, what do you think you learned from scaring?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I want to go back. I wish I want to go like to Universal.
I
and,
hope
like,
you go back,
hey,
man.
I want to go there and be like, look, let me be a teacher there. Let me, be a mentor there, because like the longer I've learned, like I think the more I do it, I get not like get bored, but I start getting creative. I'm like, man, I've done this, I've done that. Like in, even in mazes, I like, even if I'm stuck in a small place, I'm like, what can I use this space? What can I do different every time? So a lot of it comes like when I was in a maze, like there was a couple of times where I was in a maze because my availability, like the last like year was kind of rough because of streaming and I was going on trips. So, but like, even then when I go on like maze, I just try to look to be creative, the ways I could use this space. But like one thing too, it's when, especially if you're in the streets, scaring somebody in the beginning of the night is completely different than at the end of the night. And it's because, everyone's like in the beginning, they're all excited. They have adrenaline. At the end of the night, they've been walking for so many hours, so many lines that they're all jaded. So you can't just have that same energy. So my whole thing is I get weird. I get weird at the end of the night, and like, cause like, they'll be like, I'm not scared of you, I'm tired. So I just get really, really weird. And then they're like, oh, and then they start getting scared again because, they've seen everybody jumping at them. So I'll get weird. I used to be like, like if I had a prop or like, I would just like kiss it and start being like, and they're like, oh, what are they doing? I'm like, no, like, like you. So it's like, I think you have to change like as the hours go on. Like towards the end, it's wild because we'll do the Chainsaw Brigade, but everybody's getting tired. So it's hard to get scares there too. But I think if you just get really weird and like what's wrong with this guy? Like without going over the line, just being like a weirdo, like, 'cause yeah. And then people are like, so they get unsettled, but like, just weird and like just like, okay, that's because most people at the end of the like, okay, I get it, you're gonna pop out, and they're jaded. So
I only got to do it for a year,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
because of scheduling,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just couldn't. My schedule, other jobs wouldn't
Yeah.
allow me to go do
yeah,
it. So
see, that's the thing too, man. Yeah,
I was bummed out about it. But I know it, you know it.
yeah.
Even though it's such a fun
Yeah.
job to have, what's the hardest part about it?
The days after, the days after, man, and especially like the run, like after you go, like I remember, I'd go with my kiddos after like the weekend and like go to Disneyland, and I was like, I needed a wheelchair, because it's funny because the whole weekend you have adrenaline and you're like, your adrenaline's pumping and you're like, and then after the end of the weekend you're like, oh man, I have a bruise here, I have a bump here, oh my leg hurts, I totally forgot somebody hit me with a chainsaw here, and you're like, oh, like you could barely move the next day, like in pain. I was like on one ride and I'm like, can you stop the ride? I'm having trouble getting out, So like, man, it's the next days, because like the adrenaline, you get back in there, you're all tired, and then like you get back in on the whenever the Thursday, and you're like, yeah, let's go. And then at the end of the night, you're like, oh. And then sleeping was always tough. I used to because you're exhausted, you're literally exhausted. I used to go home, I would go to sleep instantaneously, like within like a second, I would close my eyes and start hearing chainsaws and screaming. It would happen for the first 2 weeks. And it was wild, and like trying to do anything else after.